Meditations on a year of high consequence, day 3. And I'm going to meditate on the concept of 3 for a bit. Start off with that. The experiential aspects of that. But it's also February 4th, Wednesday, 2026, because there's a 3-sidedness to this very moment. And it's notes from the front lines, notes to myself and the one mind. And some of that might be posterity and different aspects of what it takes to be part of trying to be on the front lines of this moment. And every moment is timeless. And every moment is experienced as well as by one, by all, and by... There's 3-sidedness everywhere. The cornerstone to the material plane, cornerstone of the material plane, is a 3-sided paradox. That came to me in vision when I was just turning 17. I was still 16 when I got that one. And when I got the follow-up about what happens next, I was already 17. So right then on the cusp in February of 73. And but I don't want to get on beyond that because, I saw a structural expansion. The shorthand, it started with the one mind concept of a field of presence, but then it moved into some sequences that happened after the cornerstone took place. The 3-sided paradox became a 3-sided pretzel. I mean, it was an orbit that had 3 kind of loops in it, made of lightning on a haze background. That was the cornerstone material plane. What the hell is that, though, really? So now, to me, it's experiential, but I didn't want to get into the material plane, creation myth. I want to get into this moment right now. And then you see me stretching, and that's one aspect of 3 things that were going on. I was also taking in some new thoughts, and at the same time, I'm thinking, what do I need to say, and do I need to say anything? And I had to stop and wait for all these things to come back around in sync. I did a lot of stretching in there. And also, while that was happening, I got some felt like input from the intuitive space. And there's 3-sidedness all over the place. And including, there's existential 3-sidedness, but there's 3-sidedness, in terms of you, the cosmos, and then the rest of us, this moment, forever, never. Oh man. But this is a moment of year of high consequence, and we're just at the start, and it's still winter, so it's a moment to gather our thoughts and come out, hit the ground running when it really gets when the mud dries up a little, and we're talking about almost like another year of the summer of love, as if, but with many more dimensions, more focused intention, as well as open-minded appreciation. But there's a 3-sidedness I keep harping back to, of meta contexts where people are coming from. And I say that covers it all. I mean, because, you make them inclusive enough, it covers it all. And I kind of half disrespectfully put an "ite" on the end. Jehovites, it includes Allah and anyone talking about a creator, an intentional, focused masculine. It's usually masculine, but we're talking about an ego. I don't care what you want to say about. All right, there's other gods without egos. That's in the Buddhite dimension. It's kind of a weird concept right there. But anyway, if you scramble them up, it gets really hard to follow or even understand. But that's why I'm trying to stretch it out into 3 perspectives. Jehovite, Buddhite is everything that's about, the Jehovite includes things that we're told, like disciples, shall we say, or believers, followers, people that understand it. It's about following directions from a higher source. Now, you could be your own intuitive energies. There's a higher source. So you try to, if you tune in, you can follow directions from that. Anyway, that's a little bit of an aside. Then it's Buddhites, which includes pre-Buddhites and everything shamanic and everything that involves finding your own path to spirit, finding your own path to spirit. It might include people telling you following certain keys, and that's where the schools of helping each other follow our own path to spirit. I'm including all those. Sorry for the notifications. Ding! And try not to let them throw me off. And the third perspective is materialites, which says, yeah, you spirit, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, we better deal with getting enough food and the fact that, and that whole perspective has been disciplined enough and serious enough to get down to the fine-tuned understanding of the material plane. And that's the one that says, we don't know what the hell's going on, but this is how it works. Yeah, some of the spirit people say, yeah, we don't know what the hell's going on, but this is how it works for us. And there's truth in all this. And I am saying, from my own perspective, all three of these are valid. The creation myth vision thing I almost explained allows for both Sophia and Jehovah. The first entity in that three-sidedness is Sophia, but that doesn't become a cosmos until there's some masculinities thrown in. Well, it's just it's a simple diagram. I mean, it ends up being a bunch of other entities where you could conceivably have some of these other entities that show up in myth and whatever. So I'm saying, is that real? Hey, man, there's a three-sidedness between reality and myth, reality, and your own understanding, as if, like, does it matter? Does it work? Is it real? Maybe all three. And I'm saying maybe all three. But here we are at this moment, and I'm saying of high consequence of us doing stuff, the people that want to step up and make things happen. Because when you apply threeness to politics, where's the third? It never allows for that. We've got majority rule becomes two-sidedness, just almost structurally. But it's the high synthesis where things come together. And I keep saying the left versus rights turn into something silly where people are just calling each other idiots or evil. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the left are calling the right idiots. The right are calling the left evil. Are we okay yet? Do we understand each other now yet? Is that necessary, kids? Well, if you lock down and keep doing it, it becomes true. That's for sure. And the third way, both sides don't quite got it, all right? Yeah, that's why. And then the fact is that the critique of one side to the other are both accurate. And if you apply that, you get to the third point of synthesis, of high synthesis. And it's simple. I can't believe how simple it is and how nobody's getting it. But that's because other crazy shit's in play, right? It's not just how simple it is and nobody gets it. It's also all this other weirdness, whatever we want to say, the manipulators. It's all one. So how does that come together? Yeah, I'm trying to manipulate you. Unmanipulate. Before I lose the thread. I lost it. I lost the thread. No. We have to untangle our own projection forward from the current fate, and yet what we do apply. I did lose the thread. Apply to the collective whole in terms of consequences, and there's three-sidedness. Me thinking I know what the hell I'm saying, me not knowing what the hell I'm saying, and me almost maybe getting it soon. What the hell are you saying, Mike? You have to both spirit sides don't really account for the fact that we have to get this done because they're both content to let. I'm just going to go on with whatever the hell I could have said. From the Jehovahite side, people don't have to follow. They don't have to be accountable to the whole, because if you follow the basic, it's okay. We just keep doing the same thing. This includes that part of the right wing, which says we're not changing anything. We're just going to keep going. Everything's going to be okay because Jehovah says it's going to be okay. It's like, yeah, there's that. That's true, sort of, yeah. That doesn't mean we're not going to crash the planet soon unless something else happens. And that's what the Bible says. It's like, yeah, you're all going to go down. Half you're going to go with that. The governments are going to do this, you know. But then you got the understanding from the left. I mean, from the left and the Buddhites, which include agnostic and then just basically generic spirit, which is the one source. I was talking about how the masculine energy arises naturally out of the in this vision, but then you have it all in play. But then that doesn't. The fact that there's all that spirit, does that mean we could just not worry about all these consequences? It's not just ecological right wing, and right wing's understanding the breakdown from terms of power and economy. Um, it doesn't have to be all of this us versus them, but it has been historically, and so again, if you try to understand it, there's a three-sided weirdness to that logic because um, from just the Buddhite side, you get the idea of higher civilizations possible, but from the Jehovahite side, you get this showdown on Earth as being the last one. We're not going to keep tolerating bullshit in the material plane anymore when we have some kind of uber agency over it as spirits that happened before this whole thing even came into play. And that's what the Jehovahite side is saying. And they're saying it from having seen it or being told. I've seen it. God damn it! I was told and thought, well, I don't know. Let me see. Anyway, the Buddhist side though says you get to understanding of the one mind, and the one mind doesn't explain the material plane exactly. It comes from a place of one mind was bored. Let's have a material plane, see if we can't expand. What the hell? That's not enough motivation for the Big Bang. In my vision, there's at least a hint of more of a motivation because it involves the experiential aspect of being there all by yourself for a timeless infinite minute that Sophia experienced, and then the release of all that when Jehovah stepped up as a being. And is that lust? Is that all that energy, the vital Kundalini energy that we're experiencing in little bits? There's so much three-sidedness. This one's staying way metaphysical, yeah, but it always comes back because it's metaphysical, it's political, and it's real. The materialite version says we need to do this on the planet as a collective project, and there's that materialite version uh, versus the Jehovahite version versus the Buddhite version. The Buddhite version says we can rise to a higher understanding, and maybe if we all do that fast enough, it'll work and everything will be cool. No, it's not all going to be cool, but yeah, you can reach your higher understanding and not be too upset by it. Okay, see ya. Go meditate somewhere. That leaves the materialites, who are a bunch of gloomsters, correctly, because unless we step up and change our ways fast. Now the thing is, we can't do that. See, I'm getting practical. The materialite says we got a planet that's just not going to keep working, and a lot of that's because in our quest to understand the material as a society, and that's just, I guess, Western, but it's Chinese. It's a bunch of all the empires got into science, and it's collectivized into a global, very effective industrial. Yeah, but it's technical. The industrial side says you're going to mass produce things. Maybe we don't need to mass produce things. Doesn't need to take away our potential uh, advancement technically. And the AI could be totally useful if it was contained to making things work better, not just people ripping each other off. I'm saying it doesn't have to be. I see. I say stop using pejoratives, and there I go. But because that's what it is. People are just trying to find ways to sell things nobody really wants, and I mean because they need money to buy things from people they can't really trust, and yet it's all us. So how do you work it back to something you can trust? Well, not with a magic wand. Now, the Jehovahite side doesn't care because it's the end of the world, and it really is. It really is. I'm telling you, it really is. I mean, you can look at it from all three sides. That's the funny part. You don't have to believe in anything, and it's pretty close to the greed. God, and the technos are seeing that. That's why Elon wants to move to Mars, and everybody else is making gazillion dollars because they got to find some hole in the ground that's comfortable enough to make it enough generations till the bullshit on the ground subsides or whatever, because it could just go forever with a lockdown slave class. But this is like a dystopia that's really not where people are feeling it. People are feeling beyond what they're saying and beyond what's out there. But it is for a vanguard to break it out because there's a lot of the ruts people are stuck in are very deep. And if it's us versus them, you don't even begin to see it. But if you start accepting all three, it starts coming together. I got completely lost in the middle for a minute there, and I'm not sure I picked up the thread. So I don't know. This is a lot to say, and these ended in another 30 seconds, so I can post to Facebook. And I got this new YouTube channel, Neighborhood Party Unlimited. It's a joke. Everything's a joke now. But can we talk to each other with any modicum of actual sincerity and trust? That's what's not in the regular podcast out there. And that's what I'm trying to maybe get a thing happening. And we're looking for a constructive crew. So pass this on to somebody that might have a clue.